Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Ma'am Balot's Math Tutorial. Today we will be discussing the fundamental counting principle and the factorial notation. What is a fundamental counting principle or FCP? It states that if you have m ways to do one thing and n ways to do another, then there are m times n ways of doing both. For example, if Anna has to attend a party and she has 4 new blouses to choose from and 3 new skirts in her closet, how many ways can Anna dress up to the occasion? So using now the FCP, we will just multiply the number of choices that Anna has. So we have the number of choices for picking a blouse is 4 times the number of choices for picking a skirt would be 3. So we have 4 times 3 is equal to 12. So Anna has 12 ways to dress up for the occasion. Another example. Suppose you secured your bike using a combination lock. Later, you realized that you forgot the 4-digit code. You only remembered that the code contains the digits 1, 3, 4, and 7. How many possible codes are there? So from this situation, we have to multiply 4 different choices because we will pick first the number of choices for having the first digit, and that would be 4 since there are 4 digits to choose from. Then the second one would be the number of choices for the second digit. Since we already placed the first digit on the first line, so therefore the next number of choices would only be 3. Because there will be 3 more digits left to choose from. And then the next is the number of choices for the third digit. So we have already 2. And the last one, the number of choices for the fourth digit, in which it is just 1. So multiplying now the number of choices, we have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So we have 24 possible codes for the combination, which is a 4-digit lock. Example number 3. 10 runners join a race. In how many ways can they be arranged as first, second, and third placers? So therefore, we need to multiply 3 different kinds of choices for the number of choices for the first placer, which is we have 10 runners to choose from. And then the number of choices for the second placer, which is 10 minus 1. So since we already choose for the first placer, we have only 9 left for the second placer. So we have 9. And then the number of choices for the third placer will only be 8. So we have 10 times 9 times 8 is equal now to 720. So there are 720 ways to be arranged as the first, second, and third placer for 10 runners. Now let us proceed to a factorial notation. So a factorial notation is denoted by the symbol n factorial, which we have there an explanation point. So that explanation point represents the factorial notation. So if let n be a positive integer, then n factorial is equal to n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times and so on times 1. So this just means that if we get the factorial of a certain positive integer, we just multiply all the positive integers in decreasing order from n up to 1. So let's have some examples. Example number 1. Evaluate 5 factorial. So we multiply 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 120. So 5 factorial is equal to 120. Number 2. We have 1 plus 3 factorial. So since 1 plus 3 is enclosed in a parenthesis, so we will add first 1 and 3. So that makes 4 factorial. And then expanding 4 factorial, we have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 24. Another example, we have 8 minus 5 factorial. Again, since 8 minus 5 is enclosed in a parenthesis, Then we will subtract 8 and 5 first. And that becomes 3 factorial. So expanding now 3 factorial, we have 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 6. Example 4. We have 3 factorial times 4 factorial. In this case, we cannot multiply first 3 and 4. But instead, we will get the factorial of each number, then we multiply the result. Or we can have to expand 3 factorial first, so that would be 3 times 2 times 1 times multiplying also the expansion of 4 factorial, which are 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So multiplying all them all, we have 144. So 3 factorial times 4 factorial is equal to 144. Example 5. We have 7 factorial divided by 4 factorial. In this case, we will expand the numerator just until the factorial of the denominator. So that becomes 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 factorial divided by 4 factorial. So the numerator is just until 4 factorial so that we can cancel out the denominator. So what's left now is 7 times 6 times 5, which is now equal to 210. Now it's your turn to answer your learning activity sheets. I hope you learned something from our discussion today. But please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. At your service, Ma'am Balot.